hearing yesterday. Did you guys watch that? It was
yes.
pretty riveting hearing, I thought. A moment ago, we were showing you one of the most heated moments from Secretary Clinton's hearing. It was a tense exchange between the Secretary and Republican Senator Ron Johnson of Wisconsin. Senator Johnson is with us this morning. We're going to talk to him. Hey, Senator Johnson, nice to see you. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning, Soledad. How you doing?
I'm really well, thank you. What did you think of that hearing yesterday? Things got pretty tense, I think it's fair to say, heated between you and Secretary Clinton.
Well, I was trying to be respectful, and I was a little surprised at your reaction. Listen, I was asking a pretty simple question. You know, we could have known very quickly whether there was a protest or there wasn't a protest by just getting on the phone to those evacuees and, first of all, finding out, are you okay? Are your families taken care of? But then asking what happened, because when you read the report, it's obvious there was no protest, there's no activity outside of the consulate. This thing started at 9:40 p.m. when people stormed that gate. So there was no reason for this, literally weeks of controversy, and quite honestly now 4 months. We could have had these answers, and it's also important that we should have obtained those answers right away.
Now,
I'm surprised it's not standing operating procedure to go in there and debrief these professionals immediately so we can prevent maybe some other imminent threats.
Well, two things. First, she said to you that what does it really matter if the goal is looking forward? And the second thing she said, to which when you put out that you thought, when she said I didn't want to interfere in the process, you said, well, that's a good excuse.
That is a dodge. Let's go back to what difference does it make. I believe the American people deserve to be told the truth. I believe the American people need to understand what happened, and I really think the American people do have an expectation that this president, this administration is honest with them. So I think it makes a great deal of difference. And the fact of the matter is, this administration has been hiding behind an FBI investigation and then a 60-day accountability review board report just happened to land past the election. So no, they were playing election politics, no doubt about it.
And
but
someone could
listen,
argue, Senator, that you're playing politics too, because one of the things you said to BuzzFeed, let me read it to you. You said to BuzzFeed, I think she just decided before she was going to describe emotionally the 4 dead Americans, that's when she was really choking up, the heroes, and use that as her trump card to get out of the questions. It was a good way of getting out of really having to respond to me. And then the other question I pointed out where you said, when she said, she didn't want to interfere in the process, you said, well, that's a good excuse. So it sounds to me like you're saying a lot of that was just faked.
Well, listen, I was responding to a question maybe I shouldn't have speculated. The bottom line is, I agree with Secretary Clinton that we need to understand what happened so we can prevent it in the future. But again, we do need to get to the bottom of what actually happened. What is the truth of the matter here? Did the administration mislead us? I absolutely believe they did. And I think that's important for the American people to understand.
Let's go back to the question, though, and I hear you, but respectfully, here's what you told BuzzFeed. It was a good way of getting out of having to respond to me. And the question to the Secretary right before she really said, with all due respect, Senator, and kind of went at you a little bit, you said, well, that's a good excuse. So to me, both of those things read, I think, fairly, as someone who's saying, you're faking it. This is fake.
Listen, they were hiding behind the FBI investigation. They were hiding behind this accountability review board report. So they weren't answering any questions. Listen, it's taken 4 months, and I understand she had health problems. I'm glad she's returned to health. But the fact of the matter is, this administration has not been straightforward with the American public. And again, I'm getting pressure from my constituents to find out the truth. The American people deserve the truth. That is why this matters. But it also matters enormously. And this is where I agree with Secretary Clinton. The main point is, let's find out what happened. Let's prevent it from happening in the future.
But, sir,
there's a failure of leadership before this and certainly after this, and we need to correct those problems.
You accuse her of crying and being emotional as a good way of getting out.
I did not. No, I did not accuse her of crying or no.
You said. She was going to describe emotionally the 4 dead Americans, the heroes. It was a good way of getting out of having to really respond to me. How am I misreading that?
I was responding to a question, Soledad. I probably speculated, and I shouldn't have. The bottom line here, again, is the reason it makes a difference is the American people deserve the truth from their president and from this administration, and they haven't gotten it yet. And I'm going to continue to try and figure out what the truth is. Why haven't we been able to question those evacuees? I mean, that's one of the questions we're going to be asking. Can those folks be made available so we can find out what happened, who they were talking to, who in the administration might have actually known what happened as they were misleading the American people for those couple of weeks, probably for the last couple of months.
Senator Ron Johnson with us this morning. Thank you, Senator. Nice to have you as always. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
Thank you, likewise. Still ahead this morning on Starting.